To Getting It Done, a podcast about music, education, and life lessons. I'm your host, Tim Rausenberger. Today is Thursday, March 14th, 2019. This is episode 258, Why We Need Music and the Arts in School. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate you being here. We have an amazing show planned for everyone here tonight. And as always, thank you to all for subscribing, for being a part of tonight's podcast. We have a new moderator. If everybody can give it up for Alice, one of my longtime colleagues, dear friends. I really appreciate her helping me out, which is amazing. I'm seeing all these names that I've seen in the past here. I'm going to give some quick shout outs to the chat. I have to do that because these people have been loyal. They've been part of the episodes right from the very beginning. We have Sparkalust Mabel Fuentes. That's a crazy name. Interior Guard has been at everything. ISM Loke is there. We have the real Day. I like that. I love the Asian writing. I don't know what that is. Help me out. Is that Korean? Is that Chinese? Japanese? I'm not sure. No offense to anyone. I'm not sure. We also have Esther joining us again. Dianelli is here. Just Nice. And anyone else, please get involved in the chat because we can't do this show without your help. We need you to be as involved as possible in this amazing discussion all about music and the arts. If you didn't have a chance to see it earlier this evening, sorry, Kay, I didn't want to forget about it. I got Kaylani. There you go. Okay. Earlier this evening did episode 257 that was released, and it was actually had to do with why school was important. It's been a topic we have addressed in my classrooms where I actually posed a question to my students. We were talking about music, and then it got a little bit broader, having to do with if you were to drop out. Let's say you're just to drop out of school altogether. What would you do? What would you wind up doing with yourself? Would you have a backup plan already? Do you have a backup to your backup plan? What would you do if you had a vision of something that's going to make you a lot of money? And what is that thing going to be? Is it going to be something you're going to be able to sustain for a really long time? Is it going to be something that's going to impact the lives of other people, impact your life, and is it going to be something that you love so much? I love music so very much. That's one of the reasons why it was very easy for me to be a music teacher, and it's one of the main reasons why I'm doing this podcast and sharing this information with you so we can have these deep, meaningful discussions. As always, we are going to tonight, yes, it's true. We are going to be doing some gift card action. We, of course, are going to be doing Amazon as we always do every podcast. We have not hit 200 subscribers yet, so shame. Okay, you know what you got to do. You got to make sure we get up to those 200 subscribers because I'm going to be giving out 2 Amazon gift cards to the as soon as we hit the 200 subscribers, and whoever subscriber number 200 is automatically gets that gift card. So that's going to be the race to that. And for this evening, because they hooked me up really well yesterday, a little bit of Dunkin'. There's my proof. Bought some this morning, had a nice culotta, and I had a great conversation with their customer service yesterday. They hooked me up with a really nice gift card, and I said to them that I was going to be donating a portion of that gift card. So $10 gift card we're going to be giving out tonight for Dunkin' Donuts, which is now known as Duncan. And hello again, Austin. Thank you for being here tonight. All right, so let's get into this. Let's talk about why music and the arts are so important in school. If you look below at the chat, excuse me, the description below the episode, you're going to see that I have a quote in there from Beyonce. And no, she didn't say it to me, of course, but Beyonce knows how important the music program was in her school. And she cites it, and she says that in the quote. And there's so many other people. They were inspired. It could have been the music program they came from. It could have been a teacher along the way. It may have not even been necessarily a music program. It could have been something having to do with the arts. So as we have tonight's discussion, we're going to be steering things around all of the arts. And as Alice so eloquently said at the beginning of the episode, we're talking about music. We're talking about theater, which is, of course, going to include acting, dancing. We're also going to touch upon artwork. You know, we have the artwork behind me. You know, you take someone like Van Gogh here, and if you want to know his story, you could, of course, look it up online. But as I've said many times, you could also listen to Don McLean's Vincent, the song, and it will really tell you about Van Gogh's sad life and the fact that it took forever for that painting to become famous. So there's a reason why there's a term called starving artist. And while that's not our topic tonight, the reason we say starving artist, unfortunately, is because it's very, very difficult for a lot of artists to be able to find that success. And I don't want to forget to say this here, and hopefully she's still around, but I did happen to see Carmen Machado, and Miss Machado is someone who I know extremely well. I think I should know her extremely well, but we are actually in a cover band together, and she could certainly attest to, and I can attest to it because I've been in those situations. It takes a long time to be able to build something. It takes a lot of time to be able to build this podcast. It's one of those things where in 2019, luckily we have social media. We have ways that we can pass the information along quickly. It's not hard to pass along the fact that this is going on right now. If you have friends that are not listening to this right now, tell them to stop whatever they are doing. And yes, she says she is a starving artist and she's still working on it. Now, I can assure you that she is someone who really is as organized as they come. And it's certainly when it comes to all aspects of her life, and particularly the cover band she's had for many years now that I'm a part of. So at any rate, why do we need the music and arts in school? Your comments are going to be important. I'm going to be looking over to the right tonight. I didn't do that too much in the past two episodes, but I'm going to do that a little more tonight. I'm going to be taking a look to the right. And the more that you can explain why music is important to you, dance is important to you. So many of you in this chat probably dance to something. There's probably something that you really enjoy and makes you happy, and it may have nothing to do with school. Do you think something like that should be in your school? Do you find that when music is played at any time when you're in school, you kind of, and believe me, I'm the last person, me dancing, it can get scary here. But we sometimes tap our toes. I've had students who have told me that they have to have music at some point throughout the day. Maybe it's during their lunch period where they just get to put their earbuds on and just be able to disappear for a good half hour or so and just escape from the entire world. We need music and arts for a lot of reasons. Most importantly, I think, is let's take a look at the entire school day. So if we look at the entire school day, and I'm going to actually type these words out as I'm saying them so that we can look at it. So I'm going to put in a sample school day. Okay, so our sample school day, what are we going to have? Let's just talk at the high school level now, or we can even go back to middle school. So we're going to be dealing with some form of math. I know we all love math. We are going to be having some type of ELA, which is your English language arts, which in the United States, to what I understand, thank you, Esther, for your comment. But ELA is a four-year requirement. Math in some states is 4-year requirement. Others, it's only 3 years. I'm not sure if it's 2. New Jersey, it's a 3-year requirement. But you take ELA. We, of course, have different types of sciences. In some places, maybe more or less than 3 years. And, of course, we have some form of history. Now, in almost everyone's schedule for your freshman, sophomore, and junior years, you're going to have those 4. So they're absolute guarantees. Now we get to throw in some lunch. And yeah, there are some students out there who, hello, Stacy. There are some students who are out there who they don't take their lunch period. There are some schools that actually permit students to take an extra course because they are trying to graduate early from high school. They're trying to graduate in 3 years. They're trying to set up a senior year in which they only have to take half of their classes. So we're going to put all of those items on the list. So now you're left with, it depends on your school, you're left with about 3 class periods. Now, some of those class periods, there might be specific type of requirements depending on where you are. You're probably going to have to take some type of a foreign language along the way. Now things are starting to diminish in your schedule and you only have so many options available to you. So why music and the arts? Well, if you look at all these other subjects, if you take a look at math, for instance, now I love math. I've always loved math, but I also know, to be very fair, not only have I always had a great math mind, but I've always had great math teachers. Math teachers have always been, my math teachers, I think all the way back to grammar school, 7th grade, 8th grade, and even throughout high school, really just about all my math teachers were very inspirational. They were a lot of fun, even when I was doing subjects like algebra, which, to be fair, I was not really the biggest fan of algebra. I just wasn't. I liked geometry a little bit more, even though I was good at algebra. I didn't really love it. But if you look at math, there's a concrete answer. Now, I understand that there's the new math, where you take various steps in a 27-step process or whatever it is that you have to explain how you got there for the critical thinking aspect of things. But for all intents and purposes, math it's a concrete answer. It's either right or it's wrong. It's pretty much how it works. Now, ELA, you get to be a little bit more creative. Depending on the assignment, you might have a creative writing type of exercise where you're allowed to use your imagination, and you might be doing things that are strictly fictional. And there are some of you, hopefully you can give some shout outs and talk about it in the chat, that you love to write fiction. Perhaps you love to write poetry. These are things that you know that you do extremely well, and it gives you a creative outlet. So that's an art form in and of itself, being able to express yourself by way of spoken word, or written word, I should say, or both. But ELA doesn't always work that way, because if you're doing, for instance, if you're studying Shakespeare and you are talking about, let's just take Julius Caesar, and you need to just talk about the mindset of Julius Caesar in this particular situation. While you can speculate a little bit, there might be a little bit more of a concrete answer. And then your teacher is going to be looking for the way that you're going to be writing that and expressing it. So you may have a little bit of an opinion. Let's now jump to history. History, and I hate this because I love history, but if you really get that in history, history is really just a compilation of information, because you're just going back to the past. Now, you can talk about current events, and we certainly can discuss our viewpoints on things. I have said over and over, and I will continue to say, we will never be discussing politics on this show, but you may discuss this. This might be something that would be open for discussion when you're talking about the parties in a classroom, in a history classroom. But it's, when you're looking at historical facts, I mean, Abraham Lincoln served as president from 1861 to 1865. It is what it is. It's not going to change. The Civil War happened in that same exact time period. I hope I got that right, by the way. Did I get that wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong. History teachers, I have 61 to 65 in my mind. Please tell me that that's right. If it's not that, it's 60 to 63. One of those two is correct, and I'm drawing a blank right now. Help me out, you history people. But if you think about history, though, you're talking about just a lot of information and stuff from the past. Now we jump into science. Now, science, there are a lot of different things. Thank you, 61 to 65. Appreciate it. There were a lot of things that happen in science where you get to experiment. The only thing with science also is you do have things that have already been proven. Now we take those 4 core subjects, and you're dealing with ultimately only one where you can truly be creative in school. And what I mean by school, I'm talking about elementary school, middle school, and high school. I'm not taking, again, nothing against math or history or science. But ELA is really the only one where you're going to be able to completely branch out and be able to use that other side of your mind, where we're not just dealing with just pure facts. So now we go to music and arts. And music is so interesting because you have so many different ways that music can be taught, so many ways that you can express yourself with music. If I'm looking off to the side here and I'm looking at some of the music comments, for instance, if I look at Sparkalust right now, I see I love music class, hands down, because, and it's not just because it says, not because I'm her teacher, but that she loves to express her feelings and be able to get them out. And that's something that she enjoys. Now, that doesn't mean that she enjoys all the music that's played in class. And she might be singing in class. She might be playing an instrument. Yes, you can express your emotions through an instrument. It is possible. And I don't have an instrument with me tonight, and maybe I think I should do that in the future. I'll grab an instrument, have it here, and be able to show you how you can really change the sound and what you're doing and the type of passion that you have. I was demonstrating in class earlier this week. I have students that are interested in performing at a talent type show where they're going to be able to do an audition of sorts. And I said to them, you need to know your music well enough and be able to convey those feelings, but you have to know the music well. Before we can't put emotion into music if we don't really know what we want to do in terms of the creative aspect of things. It's very hard to do that. So in some ways, that's where the information piece comes in. That's where you have to be able to read your music notes. That's where you have to be able to make a proper sound. That's where a proper sound, whether it's on an instrument or whether you're singing, that you're able to make a high quality sound that people enjoy. Now that you've mastered that skill, then you go to the next step, which is being able to put your emotions and your feelings into what it is that you're doing. And the example that I showed them in class is that at any given time in the cover band I play in with Miss Machado, I have to play the tune Havana, or Havana, however you want to pronounce it. And it's got a very big trumpet solo in it. And it's one of those things where I need to try to inspire the people around me. I want to do something with that solo that's different than the original. The original, in some ways, it almost sounds like it's, I don't know, canned, almost synthesized. And I really try to take it to another level. I just try to have some fun with it. I'll get down on one knee as if I'm almost proposing to someone out in the audience as I'm playing, and I'm serenading them. And you're able to do that. And that's such a thrill for me every time I get to do it. I did it at a concert earlier this year where I played it for a big section of students who was out of middle school, and they roared, and that was fun. That was exciting to me. And I know that, and I have to tell you too, the band, my bandmates that were with me were very, very jealous. They were very, very jealous that I got that type of ovation, that I was the big star, but that's the way that it worked out. But I also would like to give myself a teeny bit of credit because it was also the way that I sold it. And that's another piece of being able to have that part of the arts in your life. If you're a dancer, you're going to learn the basics, but you can do things like you can become a choreographer. And if you have someone who can give you that type of information, you might be able to write your own dances. If you are an actor or an actress, if you're going to be an actor or an actress, you should be able to start doing impressions now. You should be able to recite lines from famous novels or famous actors or actresses from movies. These are things that you should be able to do right now. You want to get to the point where you're able to do that in school. Now, none of this is going to be able to happen if your teacher doesn't allow you to do this. And I certainly hope that wherever it is that you are at school, or if you're a teacher who is in this chat tonight or hears this later on, that you are providing these types of opportunities and having these conversations with the students. They need to know. They don't know. They don't understand that a tune like Havana, I played it, I haven't played 8,000 times, but you understand what I'm saying. I've played it a lot. And I've said to my students, at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can wake me from a deep sleep and throw a trumpet in my hand. I could play it on a dime. And it has nothing to do so much with just being a professional. That's not just it. It's that you love what you do. And teachers need to make sure that you're allowing your students to express themselves, to be able to do things that are just different and make your class different. If you're teaching your music class, if you're teaching a dance class, an acting class, an art class, and you're restricting them, just like the math equation where there's only one answer. And the unfortunate thing is it's either right or it's wrong. And in music, yes, there is a point where the notes are right or wrong, but there are also some other things that you can do with the ensemble. I think I find that too many music teachers spend too much time teaching to the concerts. And you're actually going to find that you are going to be more effective as a teacher if you don't teach specifically to the concert. That's the same thing as teaching to the, fill it in. Teaching to the what? Can I get it in the chat? Help me out here. No one. Teaching to the what? Teaching to the student? No. Students? No. World? No. Book? No. It has to do with the thing that you hate the absolute most that you have to usually do in your state probably around like April or May or so. And you can't stand having to do this because it goes on for like 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, exams, you're on the right there. It's teaching to the test. Okay, and teaching to the test, it's really not one of the most effective ways of teaching, because what happens then is you're just, it's almost like you're just regurgitating, or you're getting the student to regurgitate information. And as I said to my students earlier today, are you memorizing or are you learning? So when you're dealing with teaching to the test and teaching only the notes in the ensemble, and you're only teaching that music and nothing else, I understand that it's wonderful. I think it's really, really wonderful that your performance may be great. But I had a colleague that I worked with for quite some time, and I really, it was not really willing to change himself. And I made the suggestion several times where I said, nothing for nothing, but you're going for all the correct notes and everything sounds great, but the kids are stiff. And you might think that they're playing with emotion, but they're really not. They're doing the dynamics that are on the page. They're playing soft, they're playing loud, but there's not enough coming out in the music. And that it was at that point when I started to realize that I said I need to be doing other things with my ensemble, and just giving them the chance to just be kids and remember that life is stressful and being in school is stressful, and it's just the way that school systems are. It just is. And I'm not going to try to candy coat it because I'm a teacher. I'm not going to candy coat it. One of the things I love about where I work is that we do take a lot of pride in the fact that we really care for the individual, and we do care for the student, and that's extremely, extremely critical. So you need to always remember that students may join the music ensemble or a music class or an arts-based class or an art class, whatever the case may be. They may have joined it for reasons that you may not know. And the only way you're going to find out is you have to ask them. That's one of the first things I do. At the beginning of the school year, I'll pass out an essay, a survey, and ask my students to tell me all the things that they love about music, all the things they don't like about music, the artists that they like, the artists that they don't like, the classes that they like in school, the classes that they don't like in school. And you build that trust with them, so they're going to hopefully be as honest as possible. You don't pass it out right away. You give it a little bit of time, make sure they know that the answers are not going anywhere. And you'll be amazed. I've asked students in band before, why do you join band? Do you know what one of the number one reasons is that students pick band? It's not the instrument. It's not the feeling of playing in band. One of the biggest reasons that students join band is because of a friend. And they're playing the flute because their friend wanted to also play the flute. And it may be a situation where their friend may be an excellent flute player and they're not, but they don't want to give up the flute because their friend is playing flute with them, and they want to have that opportunity to be able to sit next to their friend. And I look at it no differently than one of my chorus classes in school. The students, I had some issues with behavior in school today. And one of the things I said to the students, I said, but you know what, though? I don't want to separate you, and I don't want to move you. And the reason I don't want to move you is because you have developed a friendship. You have developed a bond with someone in the class. You seem to be very comfortable with where you're sitting. And it was a class where the kids were a little bit stiffer at the beginning of the school year and didn't express themselves as much because maybe they didn't know as many people. And now they have someone that they're comfortable with. So there's more than just the music notes. There's more than just F sharps. There's more than just B flats. There's more than just painting everything perfectly within the lines. There's more than just say it this way on the stage, yet the student's not completely capable of doing exactly what you want, but they're doing it their way, and it's working. So, as that old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So there's a lot. There are so many different elements involved with music and the arts, and there are so many conversations that we can have that can spur this. This was a little bit of a tricky episode. It's one that I really wanted to do, but it's hard to be able to say to everyone in the chat and be able to give very specific questions. I had spoken with Alice about this in advance. I said, what kind of questions are we going to ask? And it's one of those types of things where I can look and I can look at, like, for instance, if I look at this comment, I happen to see Sparkle Lust again, and I say, because we want the lessons we want for our careers, we want to study, school is kind of boring. If I look at Austin, he says, I joined because I love music and that I want to try to improve my skill and just have the chance to try instruments. See, now for Austin, it's different. It's not necessarily because of a friend, and he's not being selfish at all. And if he is being selfish, that's fine too. You absolutely are entitled to your own selfish opinions for why you decide that you're going to do anything with your life. Anything with your life. So if you want to try an instrument, then you try it. You're never going to know if you don't try. True? So that's pretty much where we're at tonight. What I would like, oh my goodness, is that the great Haley? And I love it too, because it says Haley Wilderada. Haley, a big shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. What an amazing, amazing music teacher she is, I might say. And hello, Annette. Let's see what Annette says here. She says, even though she doesn't love her instrument, but the feeling of being part of something amazing and that I know how to play an instrument makes me really happy and grateful. I think that that's great. And you know, and when I think, you know, there was a student that I had in school who had talked about, this was a few months ago, and they had talked about possible songs that we could consider for doing in school this year. I let my chorus, they get to pick mostly the songs that they want to do, and then we make sure that they're appropriate, and we present do kind of our own covers. So as an example, one of the songs I'm working on right now is All of Me by John Legend. And what I did was I allowed the students to have their input. Do you think we should be a little bit softer here? Do we think you should be a little bit louder here? Could we put a little bit more emphasis on the words? What do we call that in music? And I'm going to type that out right here. And my professor at college is going to be so proud of me. I'm going to put it in capital letters. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Because as I've said a few times, I am in graduate school right now, and we just did a topic, we covered a unit, and the unit that we covered, it was on this composer, on Schubert, and we were talking about text painting, and the two tunes that we worked on, they're both in German. One was Der Doppelgänger, and the second one is the Earl King. And this is how it's spelled. There's an umlaut, 2 dots over the O. And these are unbelievable songs. They're amazing. And it gives the performer the opportunity to be able to go to another level. You take something like the Earl King, you have to be, as one singer, you have to play the role of 4 different people. The role of a narrator, the role of a little boy, the role of a father, the father of the boy, and then the role of this mystical person known as the Earl King. And it's a very, very powerful song, and it's amazing. I thought I knew the song really well until we covered it this past week, and I found out how much I didn't know when the quiz came. But it just goes to show that you can paint the words in such a way in music, and you can't do that in other types of, not just the subjects in school. I've been talking about the subjects in school, but other types of elements of things in your life. Where could you apply some of this? You could apply it to landscaping, of something I absolutely cannot do. I'll be happy to show you pictures of my yard at some point, because I have one of the greatest landscapers on earth. And he takes a lot of pride in what he does. And he'll make some suggestions to me and say, listen, I think that it would be really great if you put these perennials out there. And I say, go for it, man. Be creative, have fun. And I had a pine tree that had died in my front yard. And I was really upset about it too, because it was a really beautiful pine tree, but it died and it had to be cut down. And I said to him, I said, be creative. And what do you think we should put in its place? And he said, I think it would be really great if we put a weeping cherry tree. And it's gorgeous. Oh, the yard is amazing. It just completed my yard perfectly. And when they trim the bushes, like I can appreciate that. And they take a lot of pride in their work. And they really, really like when I go outside and thank them and tell them how much I admire what they're doing, because there is an element of being an artist when you're going to work on your art. There are some people that find painting to be just very therapeutic. It calms you down just to be able to paint. For me personally, I can't think of anything more frustrating in the world. I look at the wall behind me, no painting. Okay, the painting was done by family members. For me, painting is very, very frustrating. For other people, they may enjoy it a great deal. So there's so many things that we can do with the arts, and it's the creative element that all these people, look at the people in the live chat. If you're seeing this now after the fact, if you're looking at this episode, look at the comments in the chat. That's why these people are here. There are plenty of adults in here. There are a lot of students that jump in here, which I think is just amazing. And I look at these, and a lot of people, thank you, Austin. Yes, RIP to my pine tree. I'm very sad about it. I'll see if I can find a picture of that pine tree. But I look at these words, and you can all learn. We can all learn from each other. These people are here tonight because there's something that brought them here. And in some cases, it may have just been me because they know me, but maybe they heard about it from somewhere else. And maybe there's something that they saw, maybe an ad that drew them to this particular podcast. And that's why we do this. So it gives you a creative outlet. Think about all the things you've done in your life. And I'm going to call all of you out on this. How many of you who are chatting right now have ever been someone who is a commenter? What's the commenter? That's the person who has an opinion for everything. You see a YouTube video and then you decide you're going to trash it. You are going to say bad things about it. You're going to give the thumbs down, something you would never do for my episode, of course, right? Wink, wink. All right. So, and hopefully you did give the thumbs up by now. If you have not, I see there are 19 people here at the moment. We've been up and down tonight, but I only see 10 thumbs up. What is that all about? You can't hit a thumb. Okay. The thumb that goes this way. Thank you very much. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So, but, think about all the comments that you've made. And I hate to break it to you, but what are you getting out of it? What is it doing for you? Is it actually making you feel better? This is something that can definitely make you feel better because you're in the company right now. This is an active chat that's going on where people are able to respond to each other. And when you're doing the comments, it's kind of like a texting type of thing where you're going kind of back and forth and you're waiting for the response. You're waiting to see how someone says something back. And what is that doing? It's just creating drama. It's not worth it. This is not drama over here. There's no drama that's going on. And I think that's, I love what Annette just said. What Annette said is so spot on because she just said, I agree with that so much. I say that a lot. Does that bring you satisfaction? I can't say it any better. And hey, Ayana. I mean, I'll never understand it. I won't get why people feel the need that they have to comment on everything. And I even will go so far that even on something like I'm on Facebook, and I know that that's for a lot of people that are, I guess, older, I think. I don't know. I don't do the Snapchat thing. That's just not my thing, and not really into Instagram either. But on Facebook, I would make comments, and then I think back, like, who cares? Nobody really cared that much. And you have to think about that before you speak, especially when you can take all of those creative powers and you can do something else with it. Maybe instead of the commenting, maybe you can find some other type of creative outlet or just find something else to do with your time. Just some food for thought. It's 7:40. We are doing something new. It's brand new. We've never done it before. I am going to respectfully ask. I'm just going to quickly check my phone here to see if I have anything. I don't see anything that's jumping out at the moment. Okay, in terms of any types of questions, and I have been looking at the chat box all night tonight. We're going to do something new. We're going to do a question and answer, but we're actually going to go off topic. And the question and answer tonight is going to be a literally ask me anything. That is me. The only thing that I ask is that if you're going to ask things that are of a personal nature, please understand and respect that I am a teacher. There's only so much that I'm going to answer in that regard. Just be respectful. I think that's the one thing that I ask is that we don't say things and be asking me about my family members and things like that, or deeper aspects of my personal life. If you can resist from that, I would appreciate it. And but otherwise, though, I am more than happy to answer any of your questions. And I have a few that actually I just got through on Facebook. They actually just came in, so I will answer those in the meantime. In the meantime, but the questions that we're going to kind of stick with tonight are just questions just in general that you may have for me, or questions that you may have about me. You may wonder about how I got to being a music teacher, how I got to being a musician. I'm really happy to talk about that because, again, this is a little bit different than the past. So one of the questions that I did get recently, and this was something that had come in. Someone had just made the comment to me on Facebook. And Ayana, I'll definitely get to that question in just 1 second. So just hang on for a minute, and thank you. Oh, Bella, thank you so much. So great to see Bella here tonight. So the first one that I'm going to answer, and that I'm going to type right here in the chat, actually, is what inspired you, okay, meaning me, to become a music teacher? And there were two main things. One thing was a summer music program that I taught in my hometown, and it was cool because I got to teach, but I was a student assistant, and it was wonderful because the person that I was assisting started me on the trumpet, and he was so patient with me. He was such a saint when I struggled so badly in my initial days and weeks, and cried every single day when I came home. And he stuck with me. And I remember I worked with this very, very young girl, and I shouldn't say young girl. She was just very little. She was very, very small for her size, and she was only 9 years old. And here I am, I guess 15, 16 years old, and I had to catch her up. So while he was teaching the class, I had to go off to the side, to like kind of the corner of the room, and work one-on-one with her. And it was so great seeing the reaction she had to my teaching. It was so much fun to see how inspired she was, and that she was smiling. And I said to myself, wow, you just did that. That's really cool. And it wasn't just with what I was saying, but it was just me playing. And she was just like, wow, she had these big eyes. So that was one thing. The second thing was a piece of music, which I'm going to type in here. And I'm just going to type the last name of the composer, which is Respighi. And the name of the piece is called The Pines of Rome. And more specifically, there's a movement or a part of the Pines of Rome that's called the Pines of the Appian Way. And this piece of music really changed me. We performed it in high school. It's written for orchestra, but we did it with band, and we pulled it off. And we had a heck of a performance. And I'll never forget ending that performance. And the high, I had these goosebumps. I mean, huge goosebumps. The roar from the crowd. It was the greatest feeling in the world. And I said to myself when I was on that stage, I said, and I talked to my friends about it afterwards as we were blasting that song. I remember going to a restaurant nearby after the concert. I had the song blasting in my car, the Pines. And it hit me. All the rehearsing in school didn't do it until I hit that performance. And we did it. And I said, I want to be able to do this for other people. So that's great. So let's take a look at some of these questions we have here. I got to scroll back up a little bit. I know I had some nice questions that came here from Ayana. I want to try to get to that one first. Let's see if I can find it. Hopefully you guys can help me out. Ayana, if you're out there and I missed it, maybe you can help me out and retype your question. Oh boy. I apologize. I'm going to try to get some of the other ones. And Ayana, if you can help me out. Bella, if you can maybe retype your question. I saw those two. Let's take a look here at some of these other ones that we have here. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So we'll go with Austin. So when you were younger and new, when you were younger and knew that you had a passion for music, did you immediately want to become a teacher or be a professional musician and go on tour and all that fun stuff? Wow, that's really an excellent question, Austin. Okay. I went, first of all, and I've said this before, and my students all know this, I was not the best high school student in high school. And I was that B-C student in high school, and I own it. It was my fault. I didn't do very well in my academics. I didn't study the way that I should have, and I put myself in a tough spot because there were colleges I wanted to go to that I had no chance of getting into. The thing that also that I am not ashamed to admit is I only got a 400 on the verbal for my SATs. And I'm going to tell you something. I have a lot of pride in that 400 because I got a 690 on my math and I got a 400 in my verbal. Some of the most lopsided SAT scores you'll ever see in your life. Yet, the thing that I pride myself on more today is the verbal component than the math. Because while I still have that great math mind, I even use a calculator now. I'm to that point. I don't even try to guess the answers in my head like I used to. But to be able to have the ability, the gift of gab, to be the ability to be able to write things very quickly and write. I wrote a letter of recommendation for an amazing colleague, and I was able to put it together pretty quickly. I've become pretty good at writing, and to know that this guy, it's you proof right here. Horrible ELA student, and I'm pretty proud of that. But I entered college and I said, this is not free anymore. I said this to my students all the time. Enjoy your education right now because it's free. It's not costing you anything. And when you go off to wherever you're going to go, you're probably never going to get free instruction ever again. It's going to cost you something. Even if you happen to get, free ride to college or you get a big scholarship, you're still going to have to commute there or you're going to have to live there. That's going to cost you money. You might be in a situation where your textbooks are through the roof and they're not covered and you're paying $1,500 in textbooks. I have a textbook my textbooks for college. I've taken 3 college courses right now. The textbooks alone cost me over $400. I've got to pay the money. You need them. And unfortunately, they know that you need the books and they're really expensive. So I went off to college saying to myself, this isn't free anymore. And I'm not going to play around with my parents' money. Now, my parents didn't pay for all my education, but they paid for some. And I had a lot of loans. And I said to myself, I'm going to be racking up these loans. I'm going to get something out of this. So I really buckled down and I worked hard in college. And I went in with this mindset. I went in saying to myself right from the beginning, this wasn't some epiphany, something that came to me all of a sudden my sophomore, junior year of college where I was trying to figure things out. No, I said before I got into college, I said, I am going to be successful and I'm going to be one of the best prepared music teachers coming out of college. And by the end of my freshman year, I had entered as a trumpet major in music education, and I found the most fabulous voice instructor, and he convinced me. He told me to switch my major to voice. That's how much he liked my voice. I never had a voice lesson before the age of 19. Just so you know, I never ever took any formal vocal instruction until the age of 19. And he encouraged me. He says, you actually have a gift. I think that you should consider doing this. And what it spurred, I looked at my schedule after my freshman year. I looked over the summer, and I said, I can't fail any class or withdraw out of any class over the next 3 years. I have to do everything I can to pass these classes. Everything I can, even the ones that are going to be really, really tough. I have to do everything I can to pass these classes because I am going to be one of the only people, maybe ever, who gets a dual major in music education and music performance. And I am going to do this in 4 years because most colleges won't even allow it. And the reason why they won't allow it is because it's insanity. The typical college major per semester is taking somewhere in the vicinity of, to be a full-time student, most colleges are between like 12 and 18 credits. That means you're taking 4 to 6 classes. In music, you take a lot more than that. My sophomore year, my first semester, I took 25 credits, and my second one, I took 24. I took 49 credits my sophomore year. Good luck with that. And I think it was something like 28 classes I took. 28 classes. And I was in school every single day from 8 a.m. to midnight. I was never late for class. And I was in that music building, and I had an idea in mind. And my idea originally was to become a performer. And that's what I was going to do out of college. And I tell my students to this day, the reason why it didn't work out, the reason why it didn't work out was because the colleges said that I was not vocally ready for what I wanted to do, which was potentially embark on a career that might involve opera, which I didn't love opera. I really didn't. But if I was going to be successful, I was probably going to have to enter that field as well. But they said my voice wasn't ready, and I was crushed. So I never looked at teaching as my backup plan. I always looked at it as a plan. That was something I was going to do. But I knew that if I was going to be a singer, like, this was the time to find out. So that's what I did. I applied to these colleges. I went for the auditions, and I did great in the auditions. It's just that they said, we're rejecting you because we don't feel that you're ready. And that was very difficult. But out of failure comes success if you stay the course and you don't give up hope, and you have people around you who support you. If you don't have anybody to support you, I'll support you. If you're here tonight, I appreciate you being here tonight. And if you're going through whatever it is and you need that type of support, I'm totally there for you. And it doesn't matter that you're not a student of mine in school. I want to be able to help people out in any way possible. That's what we're supposed to do here on earth, isn't it? We're supposed to help other people out. So I became a music teacher, and it's now spurred into this. Now I'm doing podcasts, and I'm having the greatest time in the world, just being able to hang out with you and be able to talk a little bit. And it's not scripted. This is me. This is who I am. Okay, so we had the possibility. Let's see. Where did I study? I studied at Wilkes University. Went to Wilkes University in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I'll actually type that out. That's the school that I attended. Sad fact about Wilkes University: doesn't have a music program anymore. I have nothing to go back to, which is very sad for all of us who graduated from Wilkes. And there's a lot behind that as to why that happened. But unfortunately, there's no music program there anymore. But what doesn't go away are all of the memories and all the people who I've met. I have more Facebook friends who are graduates from Wilkes than anyone. Those people are dear friends for life, and every one of them became an insanely successful professional. Whether it was as just a teacher, not necessarily music, or a music teacher or professional musician. My roommate, I still think he might be the greatest musician on earth, Ron Stabinsky. I really think he's just really that great. Let's see what other types of questions we have here. What made me so successful in what I do? This is from, I guess, Uni O. What made me successful? Hard work. You got to work hard. There's no shortcuts in life. You can't take a shortcut to become successful. I mean, you can, but first of all, it's not going to be. It's more satisfying to go through the hard work. And I know you're going to say, well, I don't want to go through the struggle. But when you go through the struggle, and when you go through all those challenges in life, and then you come out on the other end, it's the best feeling in the world. Did you take the test with honesty, or did you cheat? And if you cheated, why did you cheat? Why did you take that easier way out? Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not going to try to act like I have never done anything dishonest in my life. I absolutely have. I'd be lying if I would say that I haven't lied about anything in my entire life. I think everyone does at some point. It's just that when you're dishonest with yourself, that's the biggest sin you can have. And you're not being truthful with how you feel. And I think that that's one of the biggest things, is that I'm always true to myself. I'm not going to change myself in the sense that if this is the way that I'm wired, then this is the way that I'm going to do things. Now, I may have to alter a few things on someone's suggestions. Like, for instance, I can't just walk into my job and decide I'm going to wear a sweatshirt and shorts. Believe me, if I could, I would, because that's what I'm comfortable with on the weekends. But when I go into school, this is what I wear. And I've talked about that. I wear the collared shirt. I wear the tie. For me, that's the way that a teacher should be expressing themselves. That's just me. Other people have other opinions on it. Can you be perceived as a professional wearing other things? Of course. If I were to wear just polo shirts every day with just a collar but no tie or anything, that would be fine. I think even if I wore t-shirts to school, I'd probably still garner some form of respect. But I don't feel that that's for me. That I don't feel that that's appropriate. I want to talk to you in person. I feel like we can talk for hours. It's great. Yeah, no, I do get lost in my conversations. You just yap too much. Sometimes I say to sometimes my students, I even say to them, I say, I apologize because my biggest crutch is that sometimes I talk too much. And I need to tell them sometimes, Mr. R, just shut up. So at any rate, Annette, thank you for saying it's amazing. I've dedicated a whole podcast to this. That means the world to me. Thank you for sharing that. Bella, there we go. Okay. Do you enjoy coming to school every day? And has teaching changed you as a person? There is not a day in my life, 23 years, that I've ever said I don't want to come to school. Facts. Even at the points in my life where I may have not been happy with things that I had to do, responsibilities that I had as a teacher, or I may not have enjoyed some of the people that were around me in my environment, even though that may have been the case in some situations, the reason why I never ever was not wanting to go to school, or I should say the reason I always wanted to be in school is because of my students. Always. It's always been about the students, 100%. And there's no one who can ever say that about me, against that about me. You can't. There are other things that you may not like about me, and I'm okay with that, and I can accept that I'm a big boy. But don't ever question how much I care about my students and how I want the best for them. Every single thing, and I stand by this, and I will stand by this till the day that I die. Every single thing that I have done in my career has always 100% been for the betterment of my students and the betterment of the community. And I know that to be true. That doesn't mean that I've been perfect. That doesn't mean I haven't said stupid things. We all say stupid things. And then you need to own them or not own them. And I own those mistakes that I've made over the course of my life. So I think that that's really important. Has teaching changed me? Oh my goodness, has it changed me? It's changed me so much. I listen more to others than ever before. Isn't that amazing? If you listen to me speak, you're probably saying to yourself, wow, he's got like all these answers. And I'm not saying that like in an arrogant way, but I can talk for hours about just so many different topics in education. That's why I'm not scared to take your questions. And that's why I like to think this podcast is different, because I'm not scared to answer any questions at all. I feel very comfortable. If I don't know the answer to something, I'm going to tell you. But my students challenge me. My students teach me. This past week alone, there were 2 videos I showed in class. They came from my students. They said, Mr. R, you need to watch these 2 videos. And the only question I asked them was very simple. Are they appropriate? That's all I wanted to know. And I watched them and I was blown away to the point where I was able to take those videos and incorporate them appropriately in a music class and have such a meaningful, powerful discussion with them. And they were able to take so much out of it, and it inspired my podcast episodes. So absolutely, it's changed me. I want to go back to, hopefully I can find that question here. I know that she said it, and I'm trying to find Ayana because she was one of the first people to throw a question out there. Good gosh, I'm struggling so bad here. And I know we're over time, but you know what? This has just been such a great episode. We're just going to go a little bit over time tonight. I hope you guys are okay. There we go. There it is. I found you, Ayana. Okay, what made you want to get into podcasts? Like what or who inspired you to do them? You're going to be very surprised at this answer. I started doing podcasts in June of 2017. And for those of you who know me, you know that I started a new job in September of 2017. And the reason I started a new job in September 2017 is because I wanted something new. And I wanted something different. And I wanted something challenging. And one of the things that I wanted so very badly was to work in an urban school district. And where I'm working right now, I adore every single aspect of the community, the school community, the city itself. I feel in a lot of ways, it's almost like they've all embraced me in all my whiteness, my pale face and my tooth. There it is again. One day that tooth will be repaired, probably about a month from now, or maybe I'll keep the hole. I don't know. But I started the podcasts when I decided I was going to make a change in my career. And I did it because I really felt that I had things to offer to people. People would say to me, you know, you have all these different suggestions and all these different forms of advice. And to know that my brother's a wise guy. All right. I'll get my brother back for that. My brother just sent me a really obnoxious text. I knew something. He was going to do this at some point. My brother's the best. My brother's my best friend. So shout out to my brother. But I knew that the podcast was going to be able to offer something to people. And I knew it had to not just be about music. I'm more than music. I'm a lot more than that. I'm about education, about life. And that's really what inspired me more than anything. It wasn't because of anyone else. I don't say this for any other reason than I firmly believe it. I would not be doing this if I didn't feel that I had a lot to offer to the world. And I didn't do this with the intention of becoming the #1 podcast. And I mean that. I absolutely, completely believe that with your support and with your help, if you can do your part, and you spread the word, because I can't do it alone. I'm only one person. There's only one me. And I can tell you that before my podcast is always will always be my student. My students come #1, and then everything else is behind. And my guys, I will put my family obviously there too. But in terms of my professional career, my students are always #1. The podcast will never be over that. But it's also cool that I have so many students that are here. I can't thank you enough again for joining us tonight, and all of your incredibly kind words. I'm very, very, very touched. And again, this doesn't happen, and it can't continue to happen without your support. And I hope that you can continue to spread the word. And if you only came for the gift cards tonight, that's fine. Like, I'm really okay with that. But I do hope that you were able to take something out of tonight's discussion. You need to give me ideas for topics. I want your ideas. I don't want to be the one always coming with all the suggestions. I want to be able to give you the creds, okay, and be able to put it. I'll put it right there. I'll put your name right there in lights, and make sure that you get the credit for coming up with a topic to discuss. It could be about music, education, life, whatever. And if I don't know enough about it, I'll do my research. Is anybody up right now for Amazon gift card? Anyone? Give me a what do we want to say? Booyah. I don't know. Is that good? You can just say me really loud, I guess. Who wants this? Anybody interested? Because Alice is going to do her magic. She's going to do her magic in just a second, and this $15 Amazon gift card will be yours. And we're going to find out in just a moment who that person is going to be. Okay, so we have that whole random generator type thing. And basically the system is, and the way it works is you have to be a subscriber. Thank you. You have to be a subscriber, but you also have to be in this chat. And you have to say something in the chat. You only have to talk one time. But if you were involved more than once, you increase your odds. Because what happens is we take all the names. We've got this amazing code program thing. I don't know how it works. But what Alice is able to do, and what Ian was able to do last week, was able to take everything. And no, it's closed, guys. You can keep on typing all you want right now. The decision's been made on those two people. All right, here we go. So we take all the names and basically it mixes them all up. And we've got the two names. And yes, Alice, those are the two names that absolutely have not won yet. So our $15 Amazon gift card is going to go to, drum roll, please. Annette BVDZ. Annette, congratulations on winning your $15 gift card. And I'll just put a little congratulations for you right here. And it might be coming from Alice as well. This is her first night of running that, so I'm going to just kind of memorialize this. So congratulations to Annette on that $15 Amazon gift card. You will need to contact me at the following email just to confirm that's you, and I'll get back to you. So this is the email that you can send it to. If you send me just a quick email to there, just confirm that you are you, and I'll send something back to make sure that you were the person and not someone from some other country who is spamming the chat or whatever the case may be. So we now have to go to, where is that magic cup? There it is. Little Dunkin' Donuts action. They call themselves Dunkin'. I told them forever, stop doing that. Okay, you're known for your donuts and your coffee. You're not known for your sandwiches. Sorry, Dunkin'. I told them that yesterday, but I have to say they hooked me up really nicely, and that tasted really good. And for those of you out there, if you notice that I've lost a little bit of weight, yeah, there's a reason for that. We've been doing this dieting thing, and there's the diet is going to be going on to phase 2, which starts tomorrow. So you may notice that maybe the face might get a little bit skinnier along the way. But at any rate, so that's my last Dunkin' anything for a while right now. All right, here we go. We got to do a drum roll. Here it is coming at you. $10 Dunkin' gift card, and get that 200 subscriber next week so I can give away more prizes. Here we go. Drum roll, please. Ayana Silva. Ayana Silva, you have won the $10 gift card, the Dunkin' gift card. Congratulations to you. Yes, I've been seeing you say me, but the decision had already been made, and I am so happy for you. So, so great stuff. Thank you to all of you for joining. Oh, you thought the video froze? Wait, I'll do it one more time for you. Yeah, I'm really good at that. I'm really good at that frozen pose type thing. So at any rate, hopefully you'll get a moment tonight to check out episode 257. I do apologize, by the way. I wanted to release the other episodes. I was having an issue getting the audio and getting the audio for my vocal survival episode. So I'll certainly take care of that for you. That we can finally get done this weekend. But I needed to put everything into this particular podcast. I think that this was just a really, really fun time for all. I hope you had a great time. Again, send it to other people. If you have not hit that like button, let's go. Let's go get that like button and pass the word on to others. As I like to close all the podcasts, I very, very seriously say to you to be kind to others, and because the wealthiest people in the world are not the ones with all the money. They're the ones with the biggest hearts. Peace out.